Okay, this is basically a workshop that we're going to look, and also the public comments, and also requests for information on non-agenda items in accordance with Section 551.042 Texas Open Meeting Act. And today we have Mr. James Spears would like to address the court. Yes, sir.
I appreciate this opportunity, and I also appreciate the Pledge of Allegiance. This is the first time I've been here during this time, and I very much appreciate the prayer. More government should get involved in that quite a bit. And if you don't mind, after I just brought a couple of notes here for me because I want to make sure that I got it right. And as soon as I get through, I need to leave because I have a handicapped daughter I have to take care of.
Fine.
So it's not because I'm upset or anything. But a few months back, you might remember, and I've heard already talk about before the meeting, the rain that we had, a lot of rain. And we had one time, just a few months back, a continuous soaking rain for several days. You probably remember that. It wasn't a downpour. It was just a real soaker. And on the second or third day of that day, one of my tenants, and by the way, my office building is right there that we share the parking lot with the courthouse annex. So it's the office building where Harold and Keck's offices are and a few other offices. So that's the building I'm referring to. But anyway, one of the tenants told me that they had water seeping through the walls under their floored carpets. I found that two of our offices had that problem, and these offices were adjacent to one another. So it was in one spot there on the south side of the building. Now, after I water backed and rented a couple of big, large carpet blowers to dry the areas, the rains finally quit. And after they did, I asked Glenn Calvert, a structural engineer, a creeper, if he would come and take a look and advise them how to stop this from happening again. Mr. Calvert said that a French drain might solve the problem if a good sealant was used to protect the foundation. But he said the only way to be sure that water stays out of the building and drains properly is to remove the soil on the south side of the building along with the shrubs planted there below the building's foundation. Once the shrubs and soil dug down below the foundation, a retaining wall needs to be in place for the water to properly drain. My building, I found out that my building is my property. Everything else is not mine. The shrubs, the soil, everything outside my building is the county's property. And as it is now, the soil is piled up over 2 feet above our foundation. And because of this, when the soaking rain came, instead of water simply flowing down as a downpour might allow, it actually just soaked into the soil. And when it got there, it had no place to go. And it actually just found its way into our building through our foundation. Mr. Calvert told me that water, when it has no place to go, will find a place to go. And concrete will not stop it. So it just got into there after that. And after that incident, it happened again about a month ago with a similar, less lengthy rainfall. So apparently the water is there, just not as much as it was. There'll be more. Anyway, I spoke with Commissioner Fields about the matter, and he said that he thought the county installed a French drain in that area back in the early 90s. Now, Mr. Calvert, and I also asked a rep from Bobcat Agricultural Services to come because they do French drains. Just wanted to get an idea of what we're looking at. But anyway, both of them said that they saw no evidence of a French drain. They said that it's possible that some other form of drain was installed, but they couldn't find anything about a French drain there. Whatever it is that's installed is no longer effective. I'm here today to ask the commissioners for your help, for me and my tenants who are affected by this. The problem seems to be that at some time in the past, the dirt was piled up against our building, and it's now 2 feet or more above our foundation. And the property that is affected is my property and the office building next door, as I said, but the property that's causing the problem is really the county's property. And since apparently at some time in the early 90s, the county agreed that this was a problem to solve, and they attempted to solve it, I'm requesting that the county again make a similar decision. And although this time I hope you'll seriously consider fixing it in a way that'll be permanent, as was advised by Mr. Calvert and Bobcat Agricultural Services. I do appreciate the time that you've given me this morning. I know this is a decision you got to discuss, and since the problem involves county property, I truly believe that it's the right thing for the county to take responsibility for it. and I do appreciate this. Now, I brought this in case it needs anything. This is Bobcat Agricultural Services. This is a bid to me, that I asked for a French drain. But down here in double asterisk, it says this: there is absolutely no guarantee of this to stop water from getting inside the building. The dirt level is 2 feet higher than the foundation, and the only way to stop water from coming in is to lower the dirt level and French drain level below the concrete foundation of the building. This will require a retaining wall running from east to west. Only then can we offer you a solid guarantee to stop water from coming into the building. And can I leave this with you in case anybody needs it? I do appreciate it again very much. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
We different copies, different ones. We can help.
Oh, yes, sir. I'll let them call. I'm sorry, do you have any questions? I don't want to run off.
Okay. If you would, stand at the mic, just,
Again, I'm not used to this.
we visited about this, 6 months ago,
It's
something like that, when we had a water problem. I told you what I thought.
Well, you and I
was
met
there.
twice. Once
Right.
was about that other
The back side.
which we did get fixed.
And I think they're exactly right. To really fix that problem, we need to do it like the backside.
Yes, sir.
Dig down, take that out, and put concrete drainage below the building. We just have to look at it and go from there. But we do appreciate you bringing this and
That's what I wanted to bring it
addressing
to you, and just, I know that it's asking a lot, but it is something that I know that the county did at one time. They attempted to work on it. I just don't know, Mr. Calvert and Bobcat both agreed on the same thing, and so I thought that might be pertinent. But if you folks would, consider it, I would appreciate that very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks again. I don't know how many copies of mine. I apologize, I'm short.
We got it.
We got it. Thank you.
Okay, item 2, workshop to discuss countywide road improvements during the current budget year. What we were looking at was taking some of our fund balance and using that to help improve some of our county roads out there because of the years and because of our growth in our county. Also, trying to put some type of plan or proposal together. And this, as far as I'm concerned, I'm not ready to vote on it today, but if y'all are, fine. But I'd rather wait and look at it, and maybe it might be some other ideas we come up. My proposal the other day was put $250,000 in each precinct can be used to improve our where we have problems on our county roads. One of the things was seal coating roads, and also to use cold mix, also to use lay down machine, depending on the situation you got and what you're trying to do. That would be at the discretion of the commissioner. But at this time, Philip, if you would, I just want the court to know what we're looking at, manpower, all of us working together to try to make these improvements happen. And Philip, if you would go over that.
On, as far as on the seal coating part, we're looking at it right now as it stands. We have 15 men out there working between the 4 precincts. Say we was to seal coat, we'd need 2 men on a distributor truck, 1 on the distributor truck and 1 hauling oil from town out to the project in an oil truck. Need at least 2 on the chipper. The chipper, it's a piece of equipment we have, and need 1 to operate it, and the other one would kind of direct the guys to back up to it to hook up, and then to pick out any chunks or anything in the front of it. It could be possibly 3 men there on that, but at least 2 men there. Then our sweeper, we'll sweep the project. That'd be one man there. And then the packer to pack the rock in after it's been sprayed and laid out, which would leave roughly about 8 men to haul gravel out to the project, to the jobs. We'd need to set up our dump trucks to where they'd hook up to the chipping machine. It's just, we'd need to get set up in order to do that. We haven't done it in a while. I know at this time, I've got one truck that will hook up, but it'd need to be adjusted to where it would fit in close enough to the distributor or the chipper machine to where the gravel wouldn't fall out and cause a hump in the road. I don't remember if anybody else's trucks are still hooked up.
I've got 2.
That's still.
Got to have a little work done on it.
Yeah.
I've got 2.
And I don't know if you
I
have
have
any.
three dump trucks.
Well, they
I don't know
hooked
whether
up?
they're hooked up,
Okay.
set up or not.
So that would take, at least eight men and 8 dump trucks there.
So how many it takes at one time, or it's how many would leave? 8 men left.
That would leave 8 men.
8 left.
Yeah, how many does it take normally to do that?
Well, to do a mile, depending on the width you're spraying, anywhere from about 10 trucks, 10 loads, 10 to 12 loads.
Oh, okay.
So they'd have to constantly run back and forth to get the gravel to come to the project.
What you'd like to do is put the pea gravel as close.
Like to put gravel as close as possible to it, depending on your location of where you're able to store it. If you're able to get it stored close enough. But that would be on the spreading, the chipping.
Now, you can go with emulsion, or you can go with oil. Emulsion's
Well-
cheaper, but it works good too. It just got to be hot when you do it.
It's what it used to be, what we used to use, and I don't know if they recommend this now or not. They still may have it, that CRS2. What it is, just basically it's mixed with water, and they spray it on, and as the water evaporates, and that's when it starts to tighten up and get tacky. So, or set up. And one thing I've seen, and I'd like to add this to it, I know we've used that 3/8 pea gravel, but I'd like to go to that, the 3/4 size chips. What I've noticed, and have noticed in the past, we use that 3/8, and our rate of spraying, which it may have been the age of our truck out there, it would spray too much oil, and the pea gravel would go in too deep into the oil. And that's where you'd have a lot of tracking. So that's just,
How about using a bigger rod?
go to the 3/4 like we used to.
Somebody that's done this and has continued to do it is Franklin County. Unlike they basically do the same thing here.
Right.
But
And it's
you mean
look pretty.
that'd be doubling the size, go from 3/8 to 3/4?
Right. You know the 1905 that you had done?
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think that was 3/4.
3/4.
I think that was 3/4. And like you say, Mike, at Franklin County over there, they'll do like what we've done with the fly ash.
Right.
They'll work the road with the fly ash, then they'll come back after that's set up and spray on top of that, and seal coat that. So, and then they can come back and put you can put cold mix on top of that and give it something to bond to.
We might holler at them and check and see if they're going to be doing something. I'd like to everybody go look at it and see how they're doing it.
I guess for the benefit of the record, We have been just patching the roads for, I don't know, I have men that have been there 10 years, and they've said we just quit using this seal coat. And TxDOT and everybody says that we should, that's wrong. The road's not going to last. And we had the coal mine built a road between Green Hill Road and 271. They use this same system that the loop has, and that thing is still a good road, and it's been there at least 10 years because it was done properly. And everybody says that until we do that, our roads would last 3 times as long as we do. We put coal mix on them, we spread it out, that stuff continually moves, and it just don't last very long. And we should be doing it this way, and we have the machinery, except for the truck may be old, and for some reason they just quit using it. My guy's been there 10 years. They said they don't know why they quit using it. And Philip was there, I guess, and
The truck it's a 70 model, and it's hard to find parts for it anymore.
It's wore out.
and I think the truck, reason it costs so much, it has a heater on it that heats that emulsion or the oil that causes that,
used.
and so it's an expensive truck, but
In 2006, I checked prices of them, and a new one run about $70,000, 2006. So, I mean, we might be able to pick up a used one,
Yeah.
but if we're going to continue to do this and constantly do this, I would say a
new one.
new one.
I would too. That's 100,000 probably. But anyway, I think we should do it that way. I think we should adopt.
I mean, the
that
only holdup, basically the holdup we've had, which we could have probably done it at a house, you know,
Yeah.
but if we had the equipment here in-house, up-to-date, good equipment, I believe it'd last us long time, and we could go back to doing this.
Well, the biggest problem was our truck.
Finding the parts.
I saw one blow up one time, and you better have people on there knowing what to do if water hits that thing, because it will blow up. We were lucky that there was, and it wasn't the county, it was a contractor one blew up on.
Well, the heater on that, yeah, you're right. It might have been the type of oil they was using too,
It was.
because it's CRS2. It's kind of a water base.
But anyway, they will, depending on what rock the emulsion plant out here will go, and with that rock, tell us how much we need to put out per foot and calibrate it out. And
Well, like I said, it's the truck we have, I mean, it's just to the point where when we would spray it and what amount of rock we was putting in there was either putting too much and having to sweep it up, or too much emulsion and it just squishing down in there.
we had major problems with that old truck. You couldn't, sometimes you'd be going down through there and you couldn't cut the oil off, and you just have to keep going. You couldn't, it was major problems. Also, the price of oil jumped sky high. When it jumped sky high, that limited what you could do and what you could do that particular year. And without a good truck to put this gravel down with, it was just hard. But anyway, and also our people hauling the gravel there, we want to try to get it as close to our destination as we can. And with 8 trucks, we can pretty well keep, because we catch everything on the fly. We'll stop, back up, catch the truck, and take off.
Now, I do know that if we had the trucks, and during that time of year, if anyone had part-time help, you know, that could be the 1 or 2 extra on the chipper truck, which would release 1 or 2, and they'd be able to drive, so they'd put more trucks hauling pea gravel, so you wouldn't be waiting on. The biggest thing that we would wait on, depending on the distance. We'll be waiting on the oil truck to get there if they had to wait in line out here. But that being said, we didn't have to wait that much before.
Yeah. Well, and also on oil, we can either get an 18-wheeler and contract somebody to haul that oil and
Right.
the
Set
oil
it
truck
right
up to
there.
it and reload and start sealing, or our oil tanker trucks, we use those, is what we did, and pull right up beside the oil truck and loaded, and
head
the truck
back,
took
get
off
another
and went and got another load. It just so happens it worked out. As we were running out of oil, the tanker truck coming in with oil, we unloaded, we'd have to stop, and it didn't take very long to load that. It worked pretty smooth. Everything went good, and the seal coating, the whole key to keeping your roads up is keeping the water out. You keep the water out, the roads will last a long time. If you don't keep that water out, they're going to tear up. And right now, we got more and more and more big trucks on county roads that really shouldn't be on there, but they're on there. But anytime you crack it or get a crack in it, you let water get in there, that road's going to start tearing up. And this is something that I think it's a good program. We've used it in the past and it's worked. Also, depending on the situation, a lot of times I have come back in there with asphalt to lay down machine, contract that, get everything fixed and packed and make sure it's got, and that has worked really well for us too. But it's been a while since we've seal coated, and I think it's good. Oil prices are down, which is another plus for us. It's not $109 a barrel like it was 2 years ago. So, anyway, I think it's a good time to do it.
One thing that I've got, we were talking about the gravel there. I've got 2 piles of gravel, one at my yard out off Union Hill Road. Not a great whole lot there, but there's some. And there should be enough, I should have enough gravel at my yard to do what I'm able to do without having to buy any. And I might could save some money that way by using that.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there in the yard. Hasn't been used since I went into office. I do know that the emulsion plant out here, you're talking about the tanker truck, they've got 2 or 3 that they run, is what I have been told, that, they can bring the oil to us and then just fill the spreader truck from there.
You can do that, or you can sit down, put the pencil to it, and see which is the cheapest way to go.
Yeah.
At that time, it was cheaper for us to go pick it up in our tanker, take it right back to the spot, because what you get into out on some of these county roads, it's so narrow, and you don't have a place to turn them around, and the oil truck has to leave and go to a designated spot to get oil, and then come back there. And a lot of these dead-end roads, as you're going in, you may not have a place where you can get in and out. These tanker trucks, we didn't have any problem getting oil.
We didn't have no problem getting it with our trucks, but
the main thing I wanted to do is just kind of let everybody know what we're looking at, what we're talking about doing, and what I'd like to do. Does anybody have any other questions about that? You got 2 on the chipping machine, you got 1 on the oil truck, you got 1 bringing oil to the oil truck, you got the sweeper, you got to have 1 on that, and then you got your wheel packer on that, and then your trucks. And we need to check your trucks to see, do we need to put a latch on them? Anybody that's bought a truck since it's been, I'm going to say, at least 12 years ago, last time we chipped.
yeah.
And you got to have those hook up on the back, because you just back up to them. They'll back up, put the clamps on, and they're gone. It doesn't take long. They do it real quick. And I guess that the hookup is the big thing. We just need to check our trucks and make sure we've got
That
it.
hookup is, it's got to be adjusted right, where we've had problems in the past where they'd be bent, the hookup on the truck be bent, you go to dumping it. Well, it's the latch, and then you have to have an extension on your bed to where it'll go into the hopper.
How many trucks do you have, Philip?
I have 4.
You got 4 trucks. I've got 2 trucks.
I've got 2 that's got the hookup on it. One of them is bent. It'll have to be
Be straight.
re-straightened.
How many trucks?
I have 3, but I don't know whether they have hookups or not. They were,
I think
2 of them are fairly new trucks, so I don't know. But the beds come off of older trucks, so they may be,
Well, it hooks to the frame.
I'm not
so
sure.
Probably more than likely you don't have
Yeah.
the hookup. I've got,
well, I think we all agree that we need to go to this system, the chip seal system, or whatever they call it, whatever, different names. But we all agree, and so I believe that we could do it. But the thing that bothers me during the current budget year, to add this money to this current budget, we're talking about less than 90 days till we'll have a budget prepared for next year. And all of my understanding and talking to legal advice, the budget's already set, and to try to add $1 million, we talked about $250 per commissioner's commission is $1 million of the taxpayers' money, and to have it, you have to have an emergency to add it to the budget. I don't know what could be an emergency about our roads. They've been like this. They've been, mine's not much different than they have been in the last 15 years, and I don't know that anybody else's are. We keep patching them. I know that I was told years ago that Precinct 4 had the best roads, and I think they still do. Somebody said they had better material. But anyway, us to have a commissioners meeting to spend the taxpayers' money on a Friday morning at 9 o'clock gives the appearance that we try not to be transparent. $1 million is a lot of money. We have a lot of departments in the county, and I think they might have some needs also. But why? It looks kind of, the commissioners have control of adding this money to the budget or declaring an emergency to give the commissioners the first priority on this amount of money. It's just not, it seems like it's not right that we can enhance ourselves in order to give us more power to buy votes like they do in Washington. But this is absolutely, I think, morally wrong for us to try to make a decision to try to use this year's budget to spend this kind of money. It's less than 90 days till we get a new budget. We'll have it prepared. It's about 90, not more than that, many more days than 90 days before the new budget goes into effect. We can discuss this so the public can have some input. Everybody can do it during our budget hearings, and they start next month. And so at that time, we can decide then what we should spend money on, and we need to buy another truck, that oil truck. Apparently, we can add that in the budget. So it's above board. I think it's being non-transparent to try to rush this in on this year's budget, and I don't think it's legal, actually. It's not on the budget. Now, Mr. Field says it's fund money, and so it's not dedicated anywhere. Well, I think the public should be aware that our tax rate is based on, they call it operating and then interest and sinking. And our interest and sinking, our INS, they call it, is above 14 cents. Out of every dollar in taxes that the citizen pays, over 14 cents goes to that interest fund. And we have the highest interest of any county our size, one of the highest in the state. And it's from building this loop, and we're going to get reimbursed. But I think that number one priority should be to reduce this tax debt. Just the interest on the rate, the 14 cents would save the taxpayers and the county a lot of money. So I think we should concentrate on that rather than adding $1 million to the 4 commissioners and let it be discussed and during budget hearings, so the public would be aware of it. To have a meeting on Friday morning looks a little bit suspicious to enhance the commissioners' jobs.
Well, first of all, the 14 cents is there, that's principal and interest.
That's just interest.
Principal, we pay out of every, well, let me say it like this. To do these loops, it was estimated to cost $168,660,000. That was what it was sold for. It was guaranteed. That's guaranteed money. We got $1.6 million that we're in the black right now. Okay? In 2019, we can take that money and pay it towards debt, but at the end, when the bonds are paid off, let's say that the traffic count on the roads don't improve. They stay, 2034. If the count goes up, then we're paid more of that money. But we're guaranteed $168,660,000. I think that's correct. At the end of the last payment, whoever the court is at that time is going to have that $1.6 million plus the interest. If we pay it in 2019, we don't have to pay that interest on that amount of money. That's just like our money, our bond money that we sold for the college on 1735, and that's up and out at the Harts Bluff School. We made these decisions, but what we were trying to do is make sure courts in the future don't have to come back and try to figure out some way to get the money. So the money was done for that, then the money was set aside for this out here at the college. I know Hudson has worked hard on trying to get us some money through the, RMA?
Yes.
And we nearly got it, but I think we'll get it next year, and that will go towards encouraging the state to widen the roads going to the college. And when we try to do these things, we try to pay for them, either pay for them or have a way to pay for them. The bond money, everything we have there was voted on by the people to do these roads, these loop projects, and that's what the money is being spent for. But anyway, at some point in time, when everything is paid off, that surplus money, I think with interest and the $1.6 million, you're probably going to have around $3 million when this is paid off. That goes to Titus County. That's the beauty of this program and why people started to do it. And they did away with this program. To my knowledge, they're not doing it anymore. But it was a good program. It enabled a county that didn't have a lot of money to be able to participate in a program like it. It has been a plus for us as far as I'm concerned. Mobility is the key to any city or any group growing. You've got to be mobile, and this has made Titus County mobile by putting the loop projects in. The overall programs, once that's paid off, your tax rate goes down to 14 cents or whatever. We have to meet obligation. We're not bringing any more money in, but if somebody, that's where you want to try to encourage companies to come here, your tax base grows, then what you pay in, it's the same money every year. It just depends. The one big problem we are having are with the power plants, and I'm hopefully that lawsuit will be settled sometime this year. I hope it is. But that's what the reason that the rate has went up some. We're not bringing any more money in. We're just bringing the same money in to pay what is owed. But today what we're looking at is money has been set aside for since 1995. We tried to put money back here, tried to put money back there, because we didn't know what these loop projects were going to cost. And the way if we come up and had a overrun, went over the budget, then the county had to come up with it. But we stayed within our budget or in the black, then the county gets to keep that money. Not at the front, but at the end. And that's a plus. That's a big plus. It was a good program. Mobility is the key to the future of Titus County. There's no doubt in my mind. You can go to any of the cities, look at the loops that's been built, and the growth where they have the growth. And you're going to see in the next 15, 20 years, you're going to see Titus County just explode. And you're going to see companies, you're going to see people, and one of the main reasons is mobility. And that is a very big key. What we're trying to do is look, we're out there, we had been seal coating for years. This is something I thought was good, but at the same time, we didn't increase the road and bridge budgets like should have been increased because we were trying to get the loop projects done. This is just, once we know all the facts, we know well, how much money is going to be spent and stuff, we can come back and say, okay, we don't need this money. I think this is fair to everybody. Everybody in Titus County will benefit because each commissioner will be able to seal coat or be able to do for their precinct. And that's what we're trying to do. That's my ideal of what we're trying to do, is to help improve some of this, because it benefits all of us. And if you don't start somewhere, you're never going to start. Our population is growing. 30 years ago, the population of Titus County in Mount Pleasant was 16,000 people. It's right at, I think the last census is 32,000, and the last figures I looked, they said it was about 34,000 people in Titus County. We're going to continue to grow, and that's good. That's good. But you know, all I'm trying to do is say, hey, let's look at this. If we can get some work done this year, let's do it. If we can't, but be specific. This money can only be used for certain things. And I've talked to Bob Bass about this, and he said, yes, you can do it. But you have to amend the budgets. You amend the budget and be specific what it's going to be used for. So, you know, this is a decision that we could decide on. My deal would be encourage you to talk to your constituents and see how they feel about it. The people I talk to are in favor of it. So, you know, we're just growing, and we're going to continue to grow. And we're going to have to start spending more and more money on our roads. So, does anybody have anything? Is there anything else we need to go over? I just wanted y'all to know manpower, machines. Also, do we need to contract bringing if we do this either this year or next year or whenever, do we need to contract and have our chips brought in?
Where our truck is, yes, we'd have to have it brought in.
I know Franklin County does that.
Yeah, that would be our best.
But I would like to visit with them and go with them and see what it costs.
It would take many days with our truck to haul it in to each one, if we needed it, you know. Yeah.
And two, we're not authorized to go outside the state.
It's not registered
Outside of Texas.
outside of Texas.
A lot of this material comes from Oklahoma and from Arkansas. Did that cover everything that you think of, Philip? Mr. Riddle?
Yeah, I'd like to, for the clarification of your remarks about the interest in the money return. Let me put it another way, and I think that it's kind of misleading how you said that there would be money left over. What the state did, if we would pay for this road, and they'd pay us $8 million a year minimum, no matter what the traffic count was. If it was more than that, they would add to it to pay us back, but they would pay us the 158 million, now it's 168. I think that was changed, but either way, they're going to pay us that much money. But we borrowed the money, we sold bonds to buy the money. We got lucky and sold the bonds when they were cheaper. So that's where we saved a bunch of money on this loop. We give credit to the contractors coming in under budget, but where we really saved the money was the interest on our bonds. But that principal at $8 million a year, and if it's more, will be paid off in about 10 years, the $158 million. But on the bonds, and it's in our financial statement, it shows you how much is left each year on interest, and then on interest and principal. And I'm telling you right now, this year, we're in the 60-some-odd million dollars in bond payments, and those bonds will not be paid off until 2034, and about $2 or $3 million a year of interest on those bonds that we have to pay, or $6 million right now we're paying in interest on the bonds, or some of it's going to principals. Our total payment on the bond payment is $6 million. Of course, we'll get $8 million for 10 years until we get that $158 million. I'm saying that we should take that money or whatever it is and reduce this debt. And now they say we can't do it in 2018. Now they said, Carl said Friday or Monday, 2019, before we can start increasing our payments on it. But I'm telling you that's two separate items. The principal and interest is one item, but the state's only going to pay us back principal. And that's it. And that's $158,000. We're still stuck with that $61 million still left on interest. Then on the Harts Bluff Road in 2003 or whatever that is, and the Chapel Hill Road, the state, just for clarification, Mr. Fields, the state said if we would move the utilities and buy the right-of-way, that they would make it, those were state roads, farm-to-market roads, that they would pay for it. So in 2002 or 2003, the county agreed to do that, and we set aside, I don't know, $200,000 or $300,000 to do it, but it was way less when they decided to do it. In 2013, they started putting that road in, and we spent, for instance, nearly a million. We spent $500 and some odd thousand just on moving the water lines. We had to come out, so we had to get money from other funds. Now, the same thing, we based our prices, estimates, or Carl did on 2002 prices, but if the state will do the Chapel Hill Road out to the college, we're woefully short. We transferred $200,000 last year, and we're going to have some more money based on what it costs to move that. But we took it out of the general fund to do the Harts Bluff, and I guess we could take it out of the fund or whatever it is on that. But anyway, so that's it. We are going to have more money when it comes up to, if the state would, and hopefully they should do it. I just want to clarify those 2 points. Get a little confusing when you say they're going to pay us back. They're not going to pay us back the interest. The state's not going to pay that.
Yes. Yes.
Please.
First, let me thank you for the opportunity to come up here and make my concerns known to you. I noticed down here in the agenda items, number 3 is possibly approve an emergency expenditure. I guess my question would be, I don't understand the term emergency. I don't really see an emergency here. We just got through approving the budget, and I know we've had some maybe excess rains, but that happens in Titus County all the time. I believe we were really concerned about making a budget. All of this should have been looked at in a budget that we just approved. Now, a lot about my talk has been said about water on the roads, and seal coat. Well, you can seal coat anything you want to, but if you don't have the base down there, That seal coat is just money spent and thrown down a hole. I think, and I've observed a lot of Titus County roads, there's a lot of potholes, and I'm not pointing fingers at anybody, because that happens. And the reason why you have a pothole is you don't have a base. So I think we need to step back and look at our road system, and maybe before we start spending $1 million putting a seal coat on, we may take a step procedure where we look at, and prioritizing our work and working on some bases, because if you don't have a base, you're just throwing money down the hole. The reason why you don't have a base, well, it's been mentioned with water on the roads. So you seal coat a pothole, and with the water we got on the road, it ain't gonna be there very long. And so you just, again, throwing money down the hole. We have a lot of water on the roads, and I noticed in this last couple of rains, and I noticed it for years, I've been called the State Department and said, hey, you got water running over Highway 67. The reason why you got water running over Highway 67, because the ditch is clogged up. And again, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. We got water running over our Titus County roads, and the reason why is we don't have a ditch system. We do not have a ditch system. We haven't had it in years. Now, the ditches might have been there previously, but somehow or another we've gotten overlooked. They've gotten overlooked. And what ditches we've got are clogged up. So water's running over the road. Well, you got water running over the road, you're going to have road problems. I've been told that, so we don't have the equipment to clean our ditch. I've been told one commissioner has a ditch cleaning machine, a scoop bucket, but I really can't use it because it belongs to the other commissioner and he can't use it. That's what I've been told. I'm an advocate of a one-unit county system. You have one man that you hire, he's responsible to take care of the roads. He's accountable. He didn't have to worry about voters and elections. His job is to take care of roads. So I think what the court and what I'm asking you to do right now is slow down, step back, and just look at this thing. It ought to be a budget item. It shouldn't be an emergency item. I don't see us having we haven't had any catastrophic rains. We've had some flooding out in the county, but we've had that for 60 years. I've been in Titus County for a long time. We've had flooding for years. So I'm asking the courts, slow down, look at this in a systematic approach, maybe even some engineering, and think about what we're doing. I think we're just spending $1 million throwing it out there in a rat hole, and it's going to be gone. Thank you.
Okay. Well, let me clarify something. And I don't know where some of the figures are coming from, but on the Harts Bluff in 2001, we told the state we would move the utility lines and buy the extra land that needs to be bought to put in turning lanes out there. Okay? We sold I can't remember exactly what the bonds are, but if they're not paid off, they'll soon be paid off. That's where that money come from. It wasn't took out of any budgets. It wasn't took out of anything else. It was took out of that fund that was set up for that. Same thing out here right now. There's $3,470,125 for 1735 going to the college. If we get to $400,000 this next year, that will take it up to nearly $4 million, or a little less than $4 million. But that money was designated for those projects, period. In the past, when we've tried to do something like this and encourage safer roads, encourage turning lanes, there's no doubt in my mind those turning lanes out at Harts Bluff has probably saved somebody's life. And that's the reason it was done. When we did the turning lanes out at the college, we had, I think it was 4 kids that died out there trying to get into that college. since we put the turning lanes in, or encouraged this, I say we, and I'm talking about the state, the county, everybody working together, putting that out there, we have not had a death out there since then. And I think it's been well worth doing those projects. What you run into, let's see, the bond money, it was 300. You can go back and look at all the documentation you want to, but it was 368 million something. That guaranteed by the state and federal government. They pay 4.2 million every 6 months. We are the only entity in the state that gets paid every 6 months because we asked for it if they would do that, and they said they would. So that's from the state and the feds. That's state and federal money comes 4.2 million, a total of 8.4 million. Then the taxpayers pay little over $2 million. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it's a little over $2 million. That's what that 14 cents is for. Now, if our traffic count picks up, that note will be paid off before 2034. But this program, at the end of the deal, that money, you're going to be paid that total amount of money. We got $1.6 million left over. You pay that. You don't have to pay interest on that $1.6 million. So interest off that, you're going to get the money every year, unless it count goes way up or something like that. That's all I'm trying to say. I need to probably sit down and talk to Carl or some of them and go over it. This is a special program set up. Quite a few cities and counties did this. It was a good program, and you look at what we got to what the taxpayers are spending, it's a good buy. But
if you look at the, if you look at it, the state, he's going to pay 8.4 a year until they pay $168 million, and that's it. And our debt, if you'll get your financial statement on our audit from Walker, Arnold, and whatever it is, look on page 34, 36, somewhere in there, you'll see what the total debt is, principals, what year each one of them will be paid, and there's still going to be $61 million in interest alone. Not counting the principal. If we take the whole 8.4, whatever the amount is. So that's all you got to do. Just get that audit from the financial statement to verify my numbers. And then on the Harts Bluff Road, we did have the bonds exactly as you say, but there was not enough money by the time we bought the property and we moved the utilities. It exceeded our amount that we had set aside for those bonds in 2001 or 2 that they bought. And that was because it cost more than we anticipated, but of course 2002 the dollars are a little less valuable than they are in 2015, 14, whatever it was. So, but that's okay. It needed to be done, and we agreed to do it, and they did what they said they agreed. But I just wanted to clarify that.
anytime you save lives, it's worth it.
I don't know whether it saved lives, but it sure stopped that traffic backing up. I live with that road for miles.
Well, Commissioners,
Anyway, I wanted to bring that up. Philip, I'm sorry.
I was just going to make a motion, move on to number 3, and make a motion that we table this, further discussion, ask our constituents, and go on from there.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. Ayes have it. Okay. Anybody have anything else? Danny, you have anything you want to ask? Mr. Oates? You have anything?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, sir.
You have anything?
No.
We do appreciate that. When will y'all meet again on that MRA? What fiscal year? What is their fiscal?
It'll be October.
October? Starts in October?
I guess what I'll tell you all about that, not on the agenda, but I do need to tell you all a little bit about the RMA. We're building Blue Brown Tyler, Northeast Texas Regional Mobility Authority. Sam Russell put me on that board 8 years ago. What's happened, there are 12 counties in that organization. We're supposed to promote transportation and rally for transportation, support whatever local counties need done. We've never done that. The only thing we've done is work on Blue Tyler. But here's the really interesting thing that's happened. We've gotten 36 million. I'm really going to ballpark some numbers. Flat Loop cost $200 million down there that we did build, and we were supposed to pay it all with toll money. It's a toll road. We've got 36 million in stimulus. We've got 56 million in a grant from TxDOT. We've got 19 million in congressional earmark, and some more. I can't remember. It totals up to a little more than $100 million, literally in money. It's just in the hands of this RMA. Meanwhile, we got these tolls that we're going to pay all of them. So now, since I got that $100 million nest egg to start with, quite a lick, there's a lot of money left over in that budget every year. I tried to get that included, and I'll tell you what kind of organization that is. I tried to get that included in our annual report, the projections of how much money is going to be, because we're going out to like 2050, we're talking about, this year we got $8 million in excess money. Most of it's being spent on the loop. Our rate's enough saying we got $400,000 for some local project. Greg County beat us out. I said the thing y'all need to be aware of, though, in case I get off that board, there's a lot of money flowing through that place. Y'all need to have somebody on the board that keeps up with that and knows what's going on. I think it's Four-Star, the Dawn, everybody down there. That board is a real rubber stamp for whatever Tyler needs. To the point that I thought that we didn't need to get out of it. But now it's sort of pig in the trough when I see how much money there's going to be. I don't like the organization in particular. I just don't think it's run right. There's a lot of bias in there. There's a lot, Tyler gets stuff. But if we get somebody in there that'll stay after them, there's going to be money in the future we can get from local projects.
Don't you think that we got a good chance to get some money in this next fiscal year?
Be honest with you, Mr. Field, it might depend on how mad I make people down there.
Well, that's good.
Well,
Fight for us, just keep doing it. If you don't fight, you don't get any of it.
I'll tell you what, one of the things I'm proud of about Titus County, this is the reason I'm real frustrated.
Get up
about
to the
money.
mic there. Get closer. There you go.
One of the things that really frustrates me that we didn't get that $400,000 the other day, one of the criteria for that was, does your project have local support? Well, you guys got $3.5 million on the table for it. Another one is, how many people is it going to affect? Does it affect economic development? We're talking about a road that's got a college on it, it's got a high school on it, it's got a power plant on it. How do you want to argue that? Does it have local support? We got $3.5 million. Greg County got that $400,000 to fix an intersection. And their argument was, well, we might get a Brookshire's over here. They didn't have any money on the table. This was supposed to have been an objective scoring matrix, and the objectivity went out the window real quick. Matter of fact, the committee that I'm on, and this is where I get in trouble. We decided, is there a real reporter in the room? We need to get on this story. This is a different deal from what they're talking about. I'm not on the agenda, I don't know what else, but we decided the other day, the chairman of this little subcommittee that I'm on that was doling out that money said, well, we're not going to make the scoring matrix public. We're not going to look at each other's scores. You can't do that.
Sure can.
You can't have government business that you hide even within the committee. Now then, that's what I'm talking about getting in trouble. I'm sitting here, that deal's over through and done. It's like being married. We had a fight, you have to get over it. So we got beat on that. But I don't like the precedent being set that those guys can get away with that sort of stuff. They can do business under the table. So when I talk about making my chairman mad, I'm pretty seriously thinking about getting, I've already looked up the law, like the open meeting stuff, open meeting, and I mean, I've got a pen on it. It's sort of it seems like a trivial point now that it's over with, but still, again, it's the precedent. And that's not the way that thing needs to be run. So that's where I have problems down there. And,
Well, I know you've been working and trying to get this, and we came real close to it, and hopefully we'll get it this next year. One thing I would like to bring up before we adjourn, I do want to bring this up, and this is where Atlanta has really stepped up to the plate, to me. On 3417, that's the one that goes to the lake, or to the airport, and 271 South, they're going to do that overpass in the road up. They're fixing to be done. They got all the schematics done, and they're supposed to let that out this next year, 2017. That takes care of the south end. The total of that deal, and the state's doing this, the county's out of it. The state's doing this at $12.8 million. 9.5 million is coming from that Proposition 1 we voted on a couple of years back, and that's where 9.5. Atlanta put 3.3 million in contingency fund into that, so it's going to be bid out. That will be completed, and then everything the problems we'll have after that will be at the interstate. But that was a problem. This was a problem. That's going to be took care of. I really appreciate Atlanta stepping up to the plate, because they told us at one time we were going to 2348, FM 2348, and they said, if y'all will go ahead and take it to 1735, which I thought was a good idea, we'll see what we can help y'all with on the south end down there. And they did. They did exactly what they said they'd do, and I greatly appreciate Atlanta and all their people down there. But anyway, anything else from anybody? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Do I have a second? Second. And any discussion? Philip and Mr. Riddles. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed. Okay. Thank you for coming. Appreciate everybody being here.
Rodney.